While preparing for civil services, it is important to know about species and biodiversity. You can expect questions on species and biodiversity not just in the civil service exams but almost every competitive exam in India. Sometimes questions are asked from the Indian biodiversity, or sometimes they are asked from the comparison between Indian biodiversity and its foreign counterparts. In this context, let us see the relations and the differences between Sarus crane and the Siberian crane. The Sarus crane, this is the Sarus crane, the grey color one. The Siberian crane is the white color one. These are the typical features that one can easily observe. When you look at the crane bird in general, when you try to compare a crane bird in general have some telltale features, like every crane bird happens to have some thin legs. They have got thin legs, they have got an elongated neck and a long beak and a small head. As you guys can notice in the Sarus crane as well, it has got an elongated neck, a small head and a long beak. By the way, the long beak helps the birds to dig a little deeper and fetch for insects, worms deep or slightly deep in the wetlands. So these are the features when you talk about Sarus crane and the Siberian crane. Now, if you consider Sarus crane in this matter, you can see that Sarus crane is a grey color bird having a red head, and if you look at its height, it is somewhat taller. It is comparatively taller compared to the Siberian crane. Now, if I consider some of the other important features of the Sarus crane, so you will notice that Sarus crane is one of the tallest flying birds in the world. It is one of the tallest flying birds. UPSC can put these kind of statements straight away and ask questions related to this. It is a native bird to the Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia and also Northern Australia. Remember, it's a native bird found in this region, so it is considered to be non-migratory. It is not considered to be a migratory bird as such. Its height is at max goes up to 5.1 feet. Its most common habitats includes wetlands, marshes, lakes and paddy fields because of high water content. Its behavioral nature is mostly diurnal. That means it is active during the daytime, performs all the survival activities during the daytime and sleeps during the night. When you talk about its feeding behavior, it is omnivorous. That means it feeds on both plants and animals. It mostly eats insects, worms and the naturally occurring algae of wetlands. When you talk about its status under various international conventions and law, as per the International Union of Conservation of Nature, it is listed under vulnerable category in the red list. That means their population is still threatened. It is considered to be still threatened and the population decline has started. As per vulnerable category, the decline is somewhere around 30% or little more. As per the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, it is listed under Appendix 2. Appendix 2 of CITES basically means that these are the birds which are traded internationally, but they are not threatened as of now. So CITES doesn't consider them threatened, but guys, being in Appendix 2 means that it may not be threatened, but it requires immediate intervention. It requires immediate intervention. Some treaties, some policies or some missions has to be made so that they do not become threatened later. When it comes to Wildlife Protection Act, it is listed under Schedule 1. That means absolute protection is given to these birds, and if any crime happens against them, then there is a provision of maximum punishment as well. When you talk about the Convention on Migratory Species, this is also famously called the Bonn Convention. It is listed as under Appendix 2. Appendix 2 of CMS basically means that these are the animals for which there is an agreement already in place for their protection. So these are the status that we have of Sarus crane. When you talk about its population, according to the same organization IUCN, it is somewhere around 25,000. So the number looks good right now, but remember, from its original population, it has already started declining by over 30%. It is in the vulnerable category. When you talk about Siberian crane, as we all know that they are shorter. I have told you about this already. They are long distance migratory bird. They travel a long distance. As the name suggests, they migrate from Siberia and travel all the way to 3 different population groups. There are 3 different population groups where the Siberian crane travels. When you look at the map, you will notice that there is one group which is called the Central Siberian Population Group. Another group is called the Eastern Siberian Population Group. And the third one is called the Western Siberian Population Group. The Eastern Population Group travels all the way from Eastern Siberia to China. right? There is a lake called Poyang. There is a lake called Poyang Lake, P-O-Y, Poyang Lake in China, where the Siberian crane are often sighted. In fact, Poyang Lake is the place where right now maximum population of Siberian crane is observed. This is the only place where the Siberian crane is still, considered to be well protected. When it comes to the central Siberian crane population group, this is the one that travels all the way to India. Right, this is the one that travels to India, and in India at Bharatpur we have got the Koila Dev National Park, which was a location where Siberian crane were occasional visitors. They normally visit India in the winter season. But guys, since 2001 and 2, there has not been Siberian crane sighting even in the Bharatpur or Koila Dev National Park. When you talk about the western population group, this is the population group that travels all the way to Iran. And guys, in the Iranian or in the western and the central population group only, we have seen maximum decline in their population have been identified only in the central and the western population group that travels to Iran and India respectively. Got it? When you talk about other important behaviors of the Siberian crane, it's a migratory animal. So we all know that it breeds in the Arctic tundra wetlands, the wetlands of Siberia, and then in the winters it comes to the freshwater wetlands of India, China, Iran, marshes, lakes and flooded grasslands. The behavioral features are mostly similar for both Siberian crane and Sarus crane. According to the IUCN, their population is around 7,000, and guys, according to the same organization, it is right now listed as a critically endangered species. Its survival behavior is also diurnal, that means it is active during the daytime and sleeps through the night. It is omnivorous, just like the Sarus crane, feeds insects, plants, both. Its status as per the Convention on Migratory Species, it is listed under both Appendix 1 and 2. Appendix 1 of CMS basically means that these are the animals which are not just migratory but are also threatened. Right, they are also threatened, and on top of that, Appendix 2 means that there is some international agreement going on, or there is some treaty going on between countries for their protection. As per the Wildlife Protection Act, it is also listed under Schedule 1. That means it is also given absolute protection under the Wildlife Protection Act. So guys, when it comes to the Sarus crane and Siberian crane, this much of information seems to be adequate for civil service exams, and even if you are appearing for other exams, this much of information should be more than enough. I'm Akshay Vrat, and there are more videos coming soon on the same topics of species and biodiversity. Thank you.